was a rough one early and often for the Cardinals this evening as they fall to the Pirates in an 8-3 loss. They muster just 3 hits. Everyone in the lineup strikes out at least once. Andre Palante hammered early, and they fall to the Pirates. For the Card Central postgame today, brought to you by DraftKings Sportsbook, where the crown is yours, and of course on STL Sports Central. I'm Matthew Rocchio, joined by Ethan Hannaford. That was certainly a rough one, and the chatters are already getting involved today, Ethan.
Yeah, that was not fun. It's funny because last night was excluding all of the Contreras hoopla, and there was a lot of hoopla.
6 games.
Yeah, 6 games suspension for Wilson Contreras. The reason he played tonight, if you didn't see, he is appealing it. We'll see if that gets overturned. But 6 games, and as well as a fine for his antics on the field last night. But I mean, you go from last night's game, that really good baseball game, antics aside. Michael McGreevy had some encouraging signs late. Alec Burleson 4 hits, the walk-off home run. You had the 5-run 5th inning. It was a fun game last night. You go from that to this, boy, brutal turnaround. And unfortunately, this game was over not far beyond the first pitch. I mean, what? By the 5th pitch? I mean, it was maybe not that early, but it was extremely early. Andre Palante.
I'll find you a pitch count. Let's find it.
Please do. This is what you do.
1, 2, 3, 4,
5,
5, 6 to make it a 1-0 game.
Okay, so it was literally over 6 pitches in. Andre Palante did not record an out until it was 4-0, and then the first out was a sacrifice fly.
Yeah, that was
5-0.
Yeah,
so was it either 4 or 5? Either way, the game was over by the first out, quite literally.
Yeah, that's really ugly, and a lot of people now questioning whether or not what we thought was in pen, which was Andre Palante in the 2026 rotation. After the last few starts for people, they're pulling back on that fact for Andre Palante. Is that an extreme take from some very aggravated Cardinals fans right now?
Andre Palante has struggled. It has not looked great. You break it down, and consistently, it has not been a phenomenal. It has not been a very good product from him this season, and I've talked about it multiple times. You look at his stuff. He is not going to strike batters out. It is going to be pitch to contact material, and so much of his fastball, his sinker is set up by his breaking stuff, and his breaking stuff just has not been good enough this year. You see here on your screen his game log over his last. This would be his last, I believe. What,
2 months?
10,
yeah, this is
10 starts, 12
yeah.
11 starts, and consistently, going off of this doesn't include tonight either. There's a couple of good ones mixed in there. San Diego, he looked all right. Miami at home, he looked all right. Pittsburgh back at the beginning of July, he looked all right. But in large part, it has been a consistently poor product from Andre Palante, whose ERA now elevates to 5.5, I believe now, with the loss tonight. And some people calling for Andre Palante to be DFA, Dalton being one of them. Here's my question. If you DFA Andre Palante, who's going to pitch in his place? That's my question.
I think did Cardinals fans forget that they got what they wanted and that they're skipping a Michaelis start this turn in the rotation? And you certainly can't DFA Palante if you're in the mood for skipping Michaelis starts. Unfortunately, now it's kind of pick your poison with the Cardinals. The starting pitching, one of the few good things this season, in the grand scheme of things. And it just, it was fine through June. It's just completely fallen off a cliff. Obviously, you had Fetty and everything and Michaelis, but now Liberatore just has no consistency, clearly doesn't have the control he had to start the season. Obviously, Andre Palante is where he is now with just multiple. I mean, the 7 earned run blow up against the Nationals, back-to-back 5 earned run games without going deep into or past the 5th inning against Colorado and the Diamondbacks. I know one of those is in Coors Field, so it's crappy, but nonetheless. And then also just, I know we don't like to focus on this, but the bottom line is in July and August, there's only one W for the Cardinals in those starts, and that's the Miami one right here. And you know, the Marlins, while they had that little run there, they had fallen off a little bit when the Cardinals were getting that win late. So it's been rough for Andre Palante. I understand why people are frustrated, but to your point, it's not. There's nothing really else to do for the Cardinals right now.
Nothing.
And I know people don't want to hear this, but his underlying numbers still tell you a guy who can keep the ball down for the most part. It's just, I think we're dealing with a guy who essentially, and I talked about this with Randy last week. This is essentially the start of his second full season as a starting pitcher. Like right now, like he pretty much went August to August as a starting pitcher for the first time ever in his major league career. This is the start of his second season, and he's hitting a wall. And that's not surprising. It's disappointing, but it's not necessarily surprising considering his profile, you know, July of last year and where he is now and where his innings are.
I understand why people are frustrated. I get it. I love you all, even the ones that drive me crazy, like Aaron Dodson. Aaron, I even love you for being here, even though you have some of the stupidest comments that I ever consistently see. I even am glad that you're here. But here's what I will say. The constant ridicule and release him, move on from him. He's not worthless. We should trade. Literally anyone else should be pitching in his place. Guys, like I agree. Andre Palante has had a bad year as a whole. You think Andre Palante is happy with the year that he's had? He's not. But when you look at his numbers, in large part, there's been a lot of encouraging signs during his time with the Cardinals. You could argue that he was overall the Cardinals' best starter in 2024 in the final half of the season. He has shown encouraging signs at different parts of his career. Now, am I saying that Andre Palante, like I said, is looking good right now? No, I am not saying that. But what I am saying is that when you look at where the Cardinals' future pitching, like the future of their pitching rotation is right now, it makes no sense to move on from Andre Palante, a guy that has shown encouraging signs at points in his career. Yes, has been very bad over the last however long, but it just makes no sense to move on at this point from a guy like Andre Palante. I'm not even saying he's going to be in the starting rotation in 2026, but making the decision right now to move on from Andre Palante is solely based out of frustration from a bad last several starts. From a bad last, 7 starts? I'm not saying it's been good, but just saying throw anyone else in there. Like, there is still a world in which Andre Palante can be a number 5 in this starting rotation and contribute. And as you mentioned, just be hitting a wall in the early legs of his career. That can still be a thing.
Yeah, and really, and if you look at it, I know this is like a super low bar, but if we're just comparing the first and the second half of the season for Andre Palante, just looking at his game logs, again, you might not think that 6 innings and 4 earned runs is a good start, but in 2025 for a number 4 or 5. That's gravy, baby. That's
whatever.
Gravy, baby. Like, and here's the thing: people hate this, but you know what? I'll use a comparison. Across in 2011, when they weren't a good team necessarily, Jeff Suppan almost had a 5.0 ERA. So, like, let's hold back, like, criticizing the guy who's slotted as the 4th or 5th pitcher when he's got a 4 or 5 ERA. So my point is that the first half of the season before we got into July, Andre Palante had 1 start where he allowed more than 4 earned runs. And it was his terrible, no good start against the Kansas City Royals at the beginning of June. Then he gets blown up against the Nationals for 7, 5 against the Diamondbacks, 5 against the Rockies. We just talked about that. But my point is that until July, not a single 5-inning blow up. Since the start of July, he's had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and now 7 of those. That's why we're talking about the huge just difference between first half Palante and second half Palante. And the bottom line is first half Palante, when he's keeping those numbers at 3 earned runs or 4 earned runs, and he's getting through 5 1/3 to 6 innings. And again, that's not enough. He needs to go longer. And that's one thing I was looking at last year is that he hasn't gone as long and on average per start this year as he did last year. That's problematic for a guy like that. But again, how much of this is him not having the stamina in his arm because of the changing in his role last year and the fact that you have to ramp these things up, and he's hitting his innings high this year. So yeah, it's not great, but there are reasons to see him in the first half of this season, and some of the best pitch to contact numbers in Major League Baseball, the ability to get ground balls, that's going away. But the Cardinals still should have a very good defense next year. And if you can get those numbers and pitch like he did in the first half of this season, then as we've been talking about with the depth, he's probably going to start next year. And I don't have a problem with that. He on a bad team, give him a shot. And they are a bad team.
Mason Windu commenting here saying, put up a poll listing the available starters in Memphis right now, excluding Matthews, and see who everyone thinks should replace Palante. There isn't anyone. I'd be curious. I'm assuming that's what you're doing right now, pulling up the Memphis starting rotation, because I would be curious. I think everyone would probably say Matthews, but you understand why he's not. It just hasn't been enough at the AAA level yet for you to say he's ready for this level. He's dealt with injuries this year. I mean, maybe throw in a name like Curtis Taylor, but I mean, Curtis Taylor, I'd rather have Palante starting than Curtis Taylor at this point. Maybe I'm in rare. I'm in the lesser of the crowds, but I would rather have Palante at this point just because he has shown that he can do it at the major league level. He has proven that he has ability to be so. I'm not for a guy that is as young as him. Again, moving on at this point.
We did it with Palante. I will pull up a screen here, and I'll pull up and we can look at all the people who have started games for Memphis this year and tell me, look at their minor league ERA right next to their names on this screen, and you can tell me just right off the bat, right now in the moment, everyone in the chat can, who are the players who they need to call up to get starts instead of these guys. Because my thing is, and I'll zoom in a little bit here, so you got Curtis Taylor. Yeah, okay, fine. Maybe give Curtis Taylor a start. 20 starts this year, 3.35 ERA. You can't fault that. We all agreed this isn't enough. He's already up. Do you want to start Ian Bedell? I don't think you do. Do you want to start Cornwell? I don't think you do. Cornwell, excuse me. Do you want to start Zach Plesac? I really don't think you want to start Zach Plesac that much. Yeah, sure. Maybe guys like Rajic. Oh yeah, he's hurt. He's 27. He's a reliever. He's hurt. I have no idea what's going on with CD-ROM, but I assume it's not going great because he started 4 games. I think he's hurt as well. It's like who I ask you is all I'm saying. Let's go, Curtis Taylor. You're in the lineup. All right, now what?
You've proven the point. Listen, this isn't making excuses. This is not saying that we are satisfied with what we have seen from Andre Palante. It has been subpar. That has been the entire Cardinals rotation for practically all of 2025, at least post-May. The frustration, right, is that there has been too many guys that have categorized as back-end starters. That's been the biggest issue. But when you look at the future of this rotation, I mean, anyone in that Memphis that has started games for Memphis this year that you would have said, yeah, I would like to see him perhaps, start next year for the Cardinals. Everyone's banged up. Everyone is injured. There is no one right now that you feel super confident about that is going to be ready for the major league rotation by the start of 2026. You got Liberatore. You got McGreevy. I mean, will Sonny Gray be a Cardinal? We don't know. Yeah. You got Palante, if that's the direction you decide to go. I imagine they'll probably give Leahy a shot in camp, but who knows what direction that goes. That's 4. That's 4 with one of them is a relief pitcher this year, and one of them is going to get paid $35 million next year that the Cardinals just asked if he'd be willing to waive his no trade clause at the trade deadline. So you tell me how many of those you think are going to be in the starting rotation this upcoming season. Quinn Matthews, maybe he's a guy that is ready to go by the start of 2026. I would be hesitant to say so, but maybe he is. Roby won't be ready. Jerpy won't be ready. Eshaun Henderson is still in double. Like, all your top guys are not going to be ready. So why on God's green earth would you move on from Andre Palante right now? Not saying it's been good, but it doesn't make sense right now to move on from a guy that has proven that he has the ability to do it at the major league level. Hopefully the Cardinals can find it again, but now is not the time for that to move on.
Adam Wells says, where are the dynamic arms? They are rehabbing because they all got hurt this year. Because even though they were able to keep the starting pitching healthy, they were absolutely just hammered. And that's why I circled Tekoa Roby, hurt. I circled Sam Robertse, hurt. Drew Rom, hurt. Quinn Matthews for a little bit there, hurt. So, like, all these guys didn't get enough time to really see what we had from them, those guys anymore. And so it killed the chance. Yeah, it would have been great if these guys were healthy. If Quinn Matthews right now was on a run of 5 good starts in a row since August, I'd be beating the drum. It would be short notice, and and people close to the Cardinals would be saying no chance. But I'd still be beating the drum because there would be some sense to it. But go look at the last few games for Quinn Matthews, and it's just he's not against by 2040. That's amazing. Quinn Matthews isn't going to be trusted right now because he had 2 starts where he went 6 and 7, and now he's back down to 4 2/3. 5 1/3. And
he needs time.
Yeah.
He needs time. He was injured for over half the season. Like, that's great that we saw a couple of good starts from him. But you know what? We saw a couple of bumpy starts as well. He's developing. He's going through that process. And just because Andre Palante has been bad, you don't rush up one of your top prospects just because you're tired of the performance you've seen from this team this year, a team that is already not going to be a playoff team probably. I know they're mathematically still in it, but they're not a playoff team. We know that. Yeah. So why would you rush one of your top prospects in order to get a guy that's been struggling out of the rotation just to do it? No, those are the kinds of decisions that hurt an organization and make you take even more steps back.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. I mean, I understand people aren't going to be happy. It's just, he pitched great at the end of last year. We're talking about 20 starts last year with a sub-4 ERA. You might not like the numbers, but that's a major league level pitcher, and he's shown it for over a year now. And and now that he's hit year 2, he's really struggling, and he needs to figure it down. He needs to really figure it out. Somebody else here was saying, is it mechanical? Is he injured? I really think that there's a reason. I know we can call into question a lot of the organizational thought processes and axioms from the Cardinals development system over the last decade. But one thing I think I can respect, even though I think it made them too cautious, I think there's a lot of sense behind, and the Cardinals aren't the only team that does this, but it was, we're going to add 20 to 40 innings onto pitchers every year. Andre Palante is at the 120 innings he pitched last year. So there is a red flag that he hasn't been able to add 20 innings without falling apart. It's same with Matthew Liberatore. He hasn't been able to add 40 innings this year without falling apart. But there's enough reasoning to that thought process to not question why a career relief pitcher hits 120 innings for the second time ever in his career and starts having a lot of trouble. That shouldn't surprise anybody. There's worrying trends, but it's not. It doesn't mean he's broken and you got to DFA him.
Yeah, I agree. You completely said it there. There's a lot of adjustments, a lot of changes. It is, it has been worse in the last, as you mentioned now, probably since mid-July, is what I think it is probably, is when it really started getting worse. But it's a young team. We've seen the ups and downs. We've all ridden the roller coaster. And right now we're in a low part tonight. It seems to change. Sometimes it changes on the nightly basis. And Andre Palante right now is in the low of the roller coaster. That's just the reality of where it is. I've shared my thoughts on what his biggest struggle has been. I don't want to be a broken record. I think the biggest thing for him this offseason he needs to severely improve the quality of his breaking pitches. His knuckle curve has to be so much better going into 2026 because he doesn't have a true secondary pitch that is helping him right now, and it's making his stuff predictable, in my opinion. I think that's been one of the bigger issues. I'm not a pitching coach. That's just what I'm seeing from the naked eye. I'm sure there's people out there that could give you more insight as to their thoughts on that. But when you're predictable, we know what that tends to do for any level of pitching, let alone at the major league level.
Just really quickly, because we were talking about how he pitched at the end of last year and in the first half of this year. So going at the end of last year, he gave the Cardinals 20 starts with a 3.56 ERA. I think we can all agree 4 or 5 starter, you're taking that. 20 starts, 3.56 ERA. That's a damn good half season from Palante last year. This year in the first half of the season, it was his first 16 starts. He gave them a 4.43 ERA. It's not as good, but I mean, you combine those two things. We're talking about the first 36 starts of his career. He's giving you about a 3.7, 3.8 ERA. That's a passable 4 and 5 starter, especially when you consider he's a guy who, I don't think people realize this because 2023 was so unwatchable. He's a guy who pitched 111 games for you across 2022 and 2023 out of the bullpen. I mean, he had he had around just under a 4 ERA as a relief pitcher as well. So he's never going to blow the doors off you, but he's a useful pitcher, especially when you have a team that is still built to win games with defense. I don't want to keep getting held up on Palante because it was a bad start. We all know he has to move on. So there was one comment we got here. And by the way, guys, you're absolutely killing it in the chat tonight. I know these kind of games aren't fun, but you guys make these nights a lot more fun when we can get in the chat and have conversations about this kind of stuff. Do us a favor. If you like what we're doing, like, share, and subscribe right there in the bottom left corner of your screen. Hit the bell button so you know that wherever we're going live, if you're a little late to the game, when a game ends, you get a little notification from YouTube letting you know that we're going live right now. It was a conversation that Randy and Bijay actually were having earlier today because it was somebody saying that, here we go, it was 5 years just to barely make the playoffs. And there was another comment, I think, earlier than that. Yes, here it was from John Henson. And it took me so long to get it because you guys are just pounding the chat. I love it. Yeah, it's a good 5 years minimum before this team can legitimately compete again regularly. They were getting this a lot this morning, Ethan. It's something I've seen from a lot of fans, this doom and gloom. But we've just seen so many quick turnarounds in baseball. I just don't think there's a lot of facts to really back this up beyond just the woe is us. This organization's bad and we hate ownership, which is just kind of the sad sack thought process right now among some of the fans.
It's hard to have a good idea as to what that number is as far as years go before the Cardinals are a legitimate contender again. Because there's several things that have to happen. First off, in the short term, right, this upcoming offseason, we're going to have to figure out what log jams are going to be cleared by Heimblum and the front office and what they're going to be able to bring in for that. You may have gotten a notification today if you have ESPN notifications on, right, that Kylie McDaniel, ESPN prospect guy, released an updated
come on, Guru. Let's go with Guru at least. The man he puts in the work.
He's the man. He's the man. He's got some great stuff out there. But he put out his latest updated prospect rankings, and the Cardinals jumped from 19th to 9th. That's a pretty big jump. It's also the highest they've been in several years on his lists. I think he said he had them at 10th and 22. So I don't know the last time that they're as high as 9th. That's an encouraging sign, right? That they were able to jump in that direction. It wouldn't surprise me if some of the clearing out of the redundancy, if that allows them to continue improving the system in this upcoming offseason. I don't know how realistic it is that the Cardinals are going to be able to drastically improve their starting rotation via the trade market this offseason. So when it comes to how quickly they'll be able to compete, first off, they're doing what has to be done first. They are rebuilding the system because the Cardinals cannot rely constantly on trying to compete with these big market teams they will not be able to consistently have success doing so. So a lot of it depends on how quickly some of these prospects are able to churn into major league talent. We know, here's the good news, is Chaim Bloom has done this in his sleep in the past. We know that all these prospects that have come up in the recent years for the Boston Red Sox, a lot of them were Chaim Bloom's pieces.
And think about it.
We know what he did with the Tampa Bay Rays. So you have to hope, right, that that process is going to be quicker than 5 years. Could it be 5 years? Yes. I don't think it's any longer than 5 years, but I think that between 3 and 5 years is a very realistic expectation.
Ethan, and people keep blaming Bloom for what happened in Boston. Honestly, guys, right now, if he trades the Cardinals' only future Hall of Famer, it'd be really good for this team.
100%, 100%. Because right now you're trying the direction of Nolan Arenado and the St. Louis Cardinals is just totally opposite right now. Totally opposite. So that's gonna be a whole conversation as to what that'll look like and how they try to clear Nolan out, assuming that they will try to do that. But they're just heading in opposite directions. It doesn't make sense right now to have Nolan Arenado on this team as they try to get younger, especially when you look at another infielder in J.J. Weatherholt banging on the door. You got Nolan Gorman, who's been hitting much better over the past 2.5 months since the beginning of June. But this comment here from Dalton saying there's no one good in the rotation at all. We have 4 5s or below. With Sonny, he can be an ace or he can be a 5-2. It's very true regarding Sonny. It's very true.
We've just given up on Liberatore because he's struggling now.
He has been a back end piece in the last couple of months since he has begun to gas out. That's not inaccurate, but it doesn't mean that that's what he is destined to be.
Yeah.
For the remaining, he is
proven. You got to do some projection.
He's proven what his ceiling can be, and I'm optimistic that he's going to be on the much better side in 2026 of what we've seen in 2025 of him. We've seen some good things from Michael McGreevy, so there is some optimism. You got a guy like Liam Doyle that is going to be entering into the system come 2026. Quinn Matthews is around. Yes, the Tommy John for Jerpy and Roby. Those definitely hurt, but there are pieces. It's just a matter of how long until those pieces are contributing to the major league roster. That's really based around, when this team is going to be back in the mix.
So Smokes a lot. Please change the video background to reflect the current attendance. Thank you.
We have any pictures from tonight? Any out there?
Tonight? B-Shape put out a good one. I just didn't feel like making a background as well after that game. My bad.
You got some work to do for the morning.
Yeah, apparently. Jesus, Lord Almighty. Let's Aaron Dobson. Yeah, we have 4 automatic losses in the rotation. It's not going great right now.
No.
But they're in a bad situation. And I saw somebody say this is all Mo and the DeWitt's fault. Listen, it's definitely Mo's fault. I mean, he made the bad decision. He failed to invest in the youth product and prioritize it in a way that would have more efficiently spent the DeWitt's money. And that's where this all rolls down from. They're not the only team right now having to rebound from a bad run from the front office. And so that's where they're at. That's the fact of the matter. It's why I don't blame anyone for being pissed off. It's why when we have these ones, we want to hear your guys' opinions because I get why you're pissed off because this season sucked. 2 years ago, it was even worse, but at least it felt like there was a reason to be optimistic. But now we're looking at 2026, and guys like Tekoa Roby that you could have some fun with in a runway season part 2 are they're not going to be involved, and so it saps some of the fun. And now all of a sudden, I hated myself. I want to chop my damn hand off as I'm typing it this morning, but now I'm typing. Could Chaim Bloom play the service time game with J.J. Weatherholt to start next season? And that's a conversation that should not be had at all. We shouldn't that shouldn't be happening. We shouldn't be having that conversation. It's asinine. It's insane that I had to type that this morning into a show rundown. So I mean, they've shot themselves in the foot to put themselves in this situation, and apparently are very keen on shooting themselves in the foot as they try to move on.
Chaim Bloom's like, what the hell did I do to receive this out-of-pocket accusation that I'm going to treat JJ Weatherholt like this. I hope that is not the case, Matthew Rocchio. It's going to be interesting. The most interesting part of all of it is going to be, what does the new upper management do to convince these fans to buy in on the product? Because John Mozeliak, you could argue, out of all of the failure that he had to get the organization to where it is, one of the biggest ones was not communicating with the fans, at least this past offseason, and telling them the direction they're going. It's going to be a new and fresh face. If you come out clean and you say, hey, this is where we're at right now, this is where we're going, we have evidence it's going to work, stick with us. Maybe you can get the fans to buy in, but I tell you what, the patience is going to be low. Just because there's a new face doesn't mean fans are going to all of a sudden be all peachy keen. Will they be happy that Mo's gone? Yeah, they will be, but they're still going to be frustrated. As soon as the play gets going in 26 and it's not great, they're still going to be frustrated. Can you take advantage of the opportunity to be open and honest with the fans about where you are, to the point where they are bought in on what this year is meant to be about?
Yeah, that's the big question. I mean, the only way, in my opinion, that they could do it would be buying in with guys like Weatherholt and things like that. I don't think it's going to boost ticket sales a bunch, but the amount of goodwill it does,
yes,
I think would be huge for people. I think even casual fans who aren't watching the Cardinals, all of a sudden, he has a couple of big games in a row, next week in the middle of September, they get some conversations going. I think there's no reason. I shouldn't say there's no reason, for being fair. I see a couple reasons why they don't bring him up. But I think they're so outweighed by the reasons to bring it up that I'm still baffled why they wouldn't make the move, and why, as they watch a fan base that's just crying out for any reason to want to like their favorite team again, they just consistently keep them, they consistently stop them giving the fans reason to get excited. And that's what blows my mind is I don't know how you keep ruining every possible good chance you have for goodwill, but and most of the time it's over saving, $500,000 here, $1.5 million here, $8 million over 5 years, or something along those lines. Like, it's just, or $10 million over 7 years, if you want to talk about them not signing Max Scherzer, reportedly. It's just, it's little things where you're $1 billion company, make the move. Doobie-Doo says this all started when DeWitt gave Wainwright $17 million in 2023. They basically funded his music career. Let that sink in for a minute. Listen, it's a funny joke, and I have no problem with that. I do just wonder, is there a reason why, for your narrative, you have to phrase it as DeWitt gave him the $17 million instead of Mozeliak gave him the $17 million? I just wonder.
I mean, yes and no, in the sense that DeWitt is the one that has the final say and writes the check. It doesn't get passed if it isn't for him. But as far as, who is making the decision and saying we're going to do this, I mean, that is Mo as well. So I don't think it's as simple as it's one or the other. It is a joint decision.
That's also partially my point. But I mean, if we're talking about the president of baseball operations being
right,
like the owner's making bad signings, that's not how this game. It's not that's how this is played. LBD Titan, I am pissed the Cardinals have the gall to increase ticket prices next year. You lower prices when the product is bad and increase when you are truly competing. Here's the thing: I don't expect them to lower prices, but I was talking to a Blues season ticket holder who said that her package, which is not a full season package, so this might not be, but I feel like you probably get less of a discount if you do half season packages and stuff, went up about 3 or 4% at the most for the Blues this year. And the Cardinals are reportedly, based on emails from the Cardinals to season ticket holders, the Cardinals are reportedly doing 10 to 15%. That's how you piss off a fan base by making an unforced error. Because I'm not saying don't raise prices 2 or 3%. That's right in line with inflation. Can't blame a company for doing that. But just comparing it to the other people in the same market as you, who are dealing with some of the same market issues as you are dealing with, and they're not trying to clip off an extra 10 to 15%, kind of makes it hard. Kind of makes it look bad when you're trying to do it, and the Blues aren't. And one of your teams is pushing for the playoffs in a legitimate manner, and one of the teams is not.
Yeah, it's hard to know. Like, I know there's been some numbers shared. You talk to some different people. I'm going to be curious to see if this gets addressed by anyone or becomes louder. I know that you guys talked about it on the Randy Carricker show. Was that yesterday morning? A couple days ago, you talked about it.
It was Friday.
It has my ear. I'm going to wait until the noise becomes louder to really get opinionated on it.
What else do you need? You got verified emails from both of these organizations to season ticket holders with dollar figures.
I just think that there's and like I said, I don't recall the entirety of the scenario in which the person that you guys spoke with, if there's any other outlying factors, what those exactly would be, the reasoning behind them. If it's as blind as we're just upping it to up it that much, then that would be complete insensitivity as to where the organization is. I don't know, maybe we get that anonymous source that explains some of the things in the offseason to someone in the media. I would be curious if there is legitimate explanation behind it, or if it is just blindly we're raising it that much. It seems it just makes it's such a high jump. It just kind of makes you wonder, like, is it like, why? There has to be a reason behind it, right? That's more so I think where this comes from for me.
That's fair. I mean, I'm not sure what the reasons are going to be.
I don't either. It's just one of those things. It's that bad.
They're about to get taxed.
It's that baffling to me.
They're about to get tax money to fix their flooding stadium. So, I mean, I'm not sure what they need to be clipping off a bunch of extra ticket sales for. That seems like an odd decision. Sometimes we get very interesting texts that just kind of run with narrative. Somebody here is saying that's why you can't give no trade clauses to players like Miles Michaelis. Did Michaelis get a no trade clause?
Yeah,
he did.
Mm-hmm.
Why is it not on Spotrac?
I thought he did.
That's what did it like get?
Yes, he has a no trade.
Was it on his old one? Man, see, Spotrac be like lying to you sometimes.
He does have a no trade
clause.
Whatever
the hell you call it. I don't know whatever the hell you call this website. These are really this is why I hate these sites sometimes because they hide stuff from you. God, that's still insane to me. That's like the Matt Carpenter extension. In like I in the moment I didn't know what was happening, and now when I look at it 10 years later, I still don't know what in God's good name was going on. A couple other comments here. Bad Mike. I don't think it has anything to do with it, but since the Chip Carey took over, they had some crap teams. Danny Mac haunting. People love their conspiracy theories, and I will not disabuse you of them. I think they're insane. Again, I'm mad at Chip Carey because he keeps dunking on me with his great shirt game, and I think it's personally an attack against me, and I'll get him back for that. But people who like to play around in the mud, or awful announcing who likes to rank the current broadcast 19th, they can have their opinions, but I disagree greatly is all I'm going to say about that one.
You and me both. Me both.
One last thing before we get going here, I need to tell everybody about our wonderful sponsors, our good friends, of course, at DraftKings, where we like to say the crown is yours. That promo code right on the screen, it's STL Sports. Check out our friends there with their Pick 6 app. This is the way to play for now. With DraftKings, you might see some ads popping up. Nothing beats relaxing on a beautiful summer day like we're getting in St. Louis right now and watching baseball. Maybe you're not watching a Cardinals game. In fact, I would suggest not watching a Cardinals game. And the simplest way to get in on the action is to download the Pick Six app from DraftKings. It's crazy simple. Just pick more or less on the stats for 2 or more of your favorite players. Pick on the Cardinals. Pick on some other players around baseball. Maybe this is one way to make the Cardinals games fun, is roll with some Cardinals, maybe with some pitchers, maybe, put more on a lot of their stats. Don't miss out on the fun and do not settle for smaller payouts. Switch to Pick Six, and right now new customers can get $25 in bonus picks with their first deposit of $5. Again, you can play right now in Missouri. All you need to do, download the DraftKings Pick Six app and use code STL Sports right on your screen. That's code STL Sports for new customers to get $25 in bonus picks with their first deposit of $5. Better payouts, bigger wins, only with Pick Six from DraftKings, where the crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org in Connecticut. Must be 18 and over. Age and eligibility restrictions vary by jurisdiction. Pick Six not available everywhere, including New York and Ontario. Void where prohibited. 1 per new customer. Bonus awarded as non-withdrawable Pick Six credits that expire in 14 days. Limited time offer. See terms at picksix.draftkings.com/promos.
All right, we're not doing this all doom and gloom negative this show. Let's talk about something positive to close things out. Nolan Gorman continues to hit the ball. And more importantly than hit the ball with Nolan Gorman, the man is seeing the ball. This is absolutely insane to me. The power numbers for Nolan Gorman still aren't going to jump out to you, but the on-base percentage is absolutely insane for him. Right now, if you just go back to the LA Dodgers at the start of August for Nolan Gorman, his APS is ticking above 800. The batting average is ticking over 275. But the big thing is the on-base percentage, as he is now seeing the ball to an insane 14 walks over the last 17 games played, a 250 batting average, a 409 on-base percentage, 481 slug, and an 890 OPS. That's the small scope for Nolan Gorman, of course. Since he returned, he has been batting like crazy. He's been pushing that OPS over 800, and just the way he's seeing the ball, I don't care about the power numbers right now. He has figured out his approach at the plate.
Is that good? That's good. That's good. Got it. Okay.
It's good. Yeah, it's good.
Yes. Yes to all of it. Absolutely loving what Nolan Gorman is doing. And this is the kind of making the front office's job hard that you like to see. Because a lot of people, I think, had written off Nolan Gorman and said, he's one of the guys that you just got to clear out. Weatherholt's coming up. You know you like Donnie. You got Wynn. You got Burley. Gorman just felt like one of those people that was one of the odd men out. And he is making fans start to question that. And I have to imagine that he's making the front office's job harder as to who they're going to move and how they're going to move them. So just to dive in a little bit deeper, my favorite one out of all the numbers is the walk rate.
Yep.
And I discussed, we got episode 75 of the Lou Sports Talk podcast coming out in the morning right here on STL Sports Central. It'll be up at 8 a.m.
Make sure you follow all across all socials, STL Sports Central on Twitter. They're always tweeting out the link for the podcast. That's the best way to get it.
Yes, thank you. Appreciate that, Rocchio. From opening day to June 1st, his walk rate was 12.1%. His strikeout rate was 27.1%. The numbers weren't there to follow it, but it showed that there was an adjustment to the approach. From June 3rd to July 12th, the walk rate remained right around the same, 11.8%. The K rate went up 5%, but the numbers started to follow. The OPS was at 841 during that stretch. And from August 1st to August 25th, since returning from the IL, his walk rate is 18.2%. 18.2!
That's insane.
And the K rate is back around where it was at the beginning of the year, 28.6. But the numbers have remained there. That's probably an outlier as far as what his walk rate is going to be. He's already like in the 94th percentile in walk rate in baseball this year. I don't expect it to be as high as 18% the remainder of the year, but it shows that he is continuing to adjust, continuing to improve. The discipline at the plate is getting better and better, and the power is sticking as well. The question that you have to ask is, has Nolan Gorman unlocked something? And if so, then you look at the lack of power, not only on the Cardinals 26-man, but in the organization. And it really is going to create some interesting conversations come the remainder of the year into the offseason for how the Cardinals deal with this logjam.
You know what? One last thing there. We'll go out here because you watch a lot of baseball, so I know you're the kind of person who's turning this kind of stuff around in their brain and has the history to give me an example. The one thing that needs to happen if Gorman can hit like this, chat's saying trade Brendan Donovan, but even so, if that happens, they still have JJ Weatherholt coming up in the question of there's no third base open for somebody. So, in your opinion right now, Katie Woo's reporting or commenting, I should say, in her mailbag that she doesn't see a world where the Cardinals pay $40 million to a player for him not to play for the Cardinals. So, based on everything you know and have seen in the past, is there a realistic way? And what is the path to the Cardinals not having to deal with Arenado taking up these third base spots next year?
I'm going to be honest. I don't know. I do not know what the path is if Arenado's list does not increase. Maybe it does, because now the difference between Arenado in the 25 offseason and Arenado in the 26 offseason is you've had an entire year on top of where he's just been subpar offensively, like very subpar offensively. He can stay here if he wants, right? He has the contract set up, but if he wants to finish on a winner, is he willing to open it up? Because the Cardinals clearly aren't going in that direction in 2026. He had a little more leverage, I think, and based on where he was in his career, engaging interest from other teams last year. He doesn't have that this year, but he has the no trade clause. This is all based off of if he's willing to waive it. If he's not willing to waive it, then nothing's going to change unless it's for those 5 teams, because unless the Cardinals are paying a significant chunk of it and are biting the bullet, then it's just he's going to remain a Cardinal. He's going to remain a Cardinal. He won't get traded. So, man, it's a tough reality in that you have a guy that just doesn't make sense to be here right now. How much would that take away from payroll if you were able to clear out that contract? Probably, honestly, not that much, because you'd probably be paying a lot for him to play somewhere else, but it would allow for ample opportunity for someone else to be playing in that position. It's a really tough spot that the Cardinals are in right now with Nolan Arenado, and I don't even want to say the handling of that contract, but the handling of that contract and where he is. So a lot of question marks. I wish I had a good answer as to how they can do that. Unless you're attaching a really sweet prospect, maybe then you find one of those 5 teams is willing to take it. But at this point, I don't know if it's realistic if it's the same number of teams that he's willing to waive the no trade clause for.
Who needs 2 catchers? Does anybody need 2 catchers? We have a lot. We have 2 catchers and we have a grab bag of left-handed hitters. One of them might be Chase Davis, but you just got to stick your hand in there and find out.
Here's a question before we wrap real quick. Would they be willing, Rocchio? Would they be willing to attach Arenado with one of these higher viewed left-handed batters that they have in order just to get Arenado out rather than getting prospects in return?
Who's a higher viewed left-handed bat?
The top one would be Brendan Donovan.
Yeah, that's the one people keep throwing out there. Listen, yes.
Would they attach Arenado with Donovan just to get Arenado out of there, even if it means getting nothing back for Brendan Donovan? Would they go that far?
Yeah, after they piss him off at arbitration this year.
Oh.
That way they can save. That way they can use Brendan Donovan's arbitration to save like $45 million instead of saving like $5 million. They can use his arbitration case to save a ton of money. Really haggle with him, piss him off, and then say, well, we're not going to get anything for him anyway because he's just going to leave in a couple years for nothing, free agency. So let's get something for him now.
Rocchio, the chat has resorted to comments about us personally. Which means I think it's time to say goodbye. That's what I think it means. They've gotten too silly.
The Cubs do not get to own the color blue. We can't give that to them, guys. It's too good of a color. The Cubs don't get to own the color blue. At the same time, I also need to. I'll close this out by calling out. Listen, the chat killed it today, but Captain Kangaroo, buddy,
the troll of all trolls.
You don't.
Congratulations.
You don't understand. Like you have to bring so much more. This is the weakest sauce. Libra stinks. Like his name, he has the word Tor in his name, and this is the best you came up with. You said I looked like teaching a high school class. I'm wearing a hoodie and glasses. Like, I mean, you're batting so far below the Mendoza line, my guy. You look like a Cardinals hitter right now. This up your game. 2026, you need some work, just like the Cardinals do. Other than that, have a great night. Start putting in some work now. Get some minutes in. Get some shots up. Ethan, thank you so much for your time. Chat, you guys absolutely killed tonight. Cardinals fall. They'll be back in action tomorrow. You can catch us live. We'll turn it around tomorrow at 10 a.m. here on STL Sports Central for the Randy Carricker Show, featuring you, kind of like you with the ladies. I'm in my girlfriend's house right now, buddy, and I got a whole ass room. Just for me. See the nerd stuff, and it's still going well. That's her. That's her signed Creighton stuff. That's her when she played a college sport. I'm living just fine. Believe, baby, it can happen to you too if you just believe. This has been Card Central Postgame on STL Sports Central. Have a great night, everybody.